morning, Cicero. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm just going to be drawing in my sketchbook. I'm working on finishing a couple sketchbooks so that I can then do some sketchbook tours for you to watch. But yeah, I've been taking it, I don't know, I haven't been taking it easy. I was about to say that, but that's sort of, I guess, downplaying what I've been working on. I've been working, of course, on the Alpha Bestiary project that will be a zine or a little booklet available in the future. You can see me paint the Erymanthian boar for that project a few videos ago if you go back in my channel. And I've also just been working on a lot of costuming stuff, teaching myself some medieval tablet weaving and finger loop braiding, watching lots and lots of sewing and fiber channels, especially ones like Bernadette Banner, watching a lot of her and her sort of circle of people and like channels. So getting really into that while I have lots of time to myself, still waiting to be welcomed back to my place of work, but I really don't mind being at home. I'm very, very capable of entertaining myself. So I'm going to do some sketching just from my Pinterest board. I have one that's all like costume inspiration and stuff like that, so I'll be doodling some of those. I've got my coffee that I'm almost done drinking in my favorite sort of medieval tapestry mug. I got that from a thrift store. It's one of my favorite finds. It was a set of 4 that all went together, and they're small, so the coffee cools down a bit faster, which is good because usually it's so hot to begin with. But yeah, other than that, I've been working on my garden at home, a few little house type things that needed doing. And I went for a hike looking for fossils yesterday. It's finally good weather to be doing that again. And I got my first sunburn of the year. So there was that. For those of you who don't know, I live basically in the middle of an ancient Cretaceous riverbed. So we have sandstone, mudstone, ironstone, and lots of dinosaur fossils from the late Cretaceous. And so in this province you can go out and surface collect fossils. If you find anything interesting, of course, you phone the Royal Trail Museum and they'll come pick it up. But a lot of them are just like fragments that really aren't that pertinent to science. And if you surface collect them, you can keep them. You become a steward of the fossil in the province, and then if they ever want the fossil from you, you have to give it to them. But anyway, we mostly find like little fragments of tendon about this long. Do I have any on my desk? I don't have any on my desk right now, but well, actually, here's some. This is a piece of bone. Right, so it's smooth on the front. It's got these sort of air pockets on the back, and this is just like a random, useless fragment of bone, but it did come from a dinosaur. So you can keep these. Scientists aren't going to have any real use for this unless it was connected to the rest of the bone and then we knew like what dinosaur it came from. But this is just sort of like wah wah. So that's what you find out there. Bunch of fragments like that. Sometimes you'll see a limb bone that's eroding out the hillside. But again, like most of those are hadrosaur. and honestly not that, like, hadrosaurs are a dime a dozen is what I'm saying, and so we just leave them where they are, and if they erode out into something more interesting, then the scientists will come and get it. I was thinking lately too that I would like to get, you know, another camera for this channel. Something so that I can have like multiple angles, and maybe even like, so this camera that you guys are watching from now it's all right. It's just a little point and shoot, but it's getting a bit old. So like if I could have that one sitting like over to this side of the desk, and then it can pick up the sound of me actually drawing and stuff, I feel like that would be nice. But of course I also want to build a little like deck and a little like fire pit in my backyard. I'm gonna go collect some stone for that, just from outside, and hopefully that'll save on the costs for it. I'll just have to do the heavy lifting myself, but that's fine. Living in, you know, such a rich geological area, there's tons of places, you know, if you just drive a little ways out, where there's just rocks, you know, just rocks, just a lot of glacial granite actually, which is obviously not coming from the Cretaceous aspects of the landscape, but it's coming from, you know, the Ice Age when those granite erratics were being pushed around. So there's lots of granite just like laying on the side of the road and stuff like that. So I have a plan to go and just like take some, because they're small pieces. They're not like big, you know, valuable pieces. But then that way I can have sort of a more natural look in my yard and save some money for other things, like buying another camera maybe. Or one thing I also ordered actually, just yesterday I ordered from Jackson's Art Supply, which I finally realized they list their prices in like whatever price you set it to, so Canadian dollars for me, and I was worried that it would be charging me in like American dollars or something, even though it's a UK company. Don't ask me why. I'm always paranoid about that. But it was in Canadian dollars, so I actually spent less than I thought it was going to turn out to. That's nice. But I bought a glass paint muller and some gum arabic so that I can try making my own paint. First off, it's just going to be for me, and just for my own projects, but I've been wanting to make paint from like the local sediments for a while just to see how they work, and I don't know if they'll be any good, but if they do turn out to be fairly good, then perhaps I'll do like small limited runs of my homemade paint on Etsy, if it works out. It may not work out, because I'm not going to be doing it with just like already ground pigments from manufacturers. I want to actually like grind up the stone here myself, and so it'll be like actual Drumheller ironstone or actual Drumheller mudstone or whatever, or sandstone, and so it may not like work well as paint, but it's going to be an experiment, so we will see. And yeah, obviously when I get around to that, I have the mortar and pestle for the project already. I got a granite one actually, so it's pretty strong, and I've started grinding some of the stone, but once I get the actual muller and the binder and see if they function as paints, then I'll obviously be posting it on YouTube. I think when I first got sort of temporary laid off from work, every time I say that, I like miss a syllable. Temporarily laid off from work. I was pretty moody, and I had to take a while to get used to it, just having, my routine disrupted, and, the state of the planet is pretty concerning right now, so I think everybody feels a little bit freaked out. But I feel like this week in particular, and this might just be because like we had someone who had to stay with us for a little while. He didn't have a place to go for a couple weeks, so he stayed with us. But then he left. Everything worked out well. And I also had a freelance project that was taking up a fair bit of time, but I finished that. So like last week and this week, since it's Sunday today, I'm filming this on the day that it's going to go up. I feel really like chill and excited to work on my hobbies, of which there are many, and more keep appearing. I just like making stuff, I get a lot out of making stuff, and getting back into sewing and costuming has been super nice. I ordered a bunch of linen as well, from, I think it's called just Fabric-Store. Anyway, they only sell linen, and I'm excited to get that in and start working on another medieval costume. There's not going to be, I guess, any medieval events this year. But if I work on a costume, then that way I have one for whenever those sorts of events start back up. So I want to make a medieval shift, and I want to make a kirtle to go over top. And if any of you guys are into reenactment or history, or you're just you like researching and stuff, I've been looking for, and I haven't been looking like super extensively. I was sort of I guess spoiled when I was at art school, because we had access to a lot of image databases from museums and stuff like that, where you could get high-res images of like medieval manuscripts and stuff like that. And I think I might actually look into getting a subscription to one of those services again, because it was really invaluable. But I've been looking for, so the thing with manuscripts and stuff is that the older they are, the less they're preserved, obviously, and the less people wrote stuff down. So you get a lot of manuscripts and books of hours and stuff like that from about the 13th to the 15th century. There's lots. So like 14th century medieval reenactment, super easy because there's tons of material for costuming and for fighting and stuff like that. But I'm interested to look a little bit further back in time, so around like the 9th and 10th century. And obviously that's harder to Google search, I guess. So I've been looking for some good scans of, I don't even know if they exist. I'm obviously not a historian, but the original Lindisfarne manuscript. So if anybody has any leads on that, shoot me a link or tell me something cool, because I want to do more like early medieval, if I can. And of course I want I just want to see the drawings. I want to see the source material. I want to see how they represented themselves in art. I mean, obviously what survives is not always a full record of what people were wearing, and if you sit there and you think like, okay, how can I make this? How can I make a dress? And if you can figure out how to do it simply, that's probably what people were doing anyway. Like they weren't like, you know, there weren't magazines back then, so I doubt they were catching up on the latest trends and buying patterns and stuff like that. You know, they had fabric, they were clothing themselves, and they had to use their human ingenuity to do it. But yeah, I used to do a lot more costuming in high school when I had obviously more time on my hands. And I would cosplay for Halloween and for conventions and stuff like that. So this isn't like a new hobby, it's just one that I finally get some time to get back to. And I've also been doing lots of mending, like mending shirts that are getting a little ratty and stuff like that. So that's been fun. And I've been baking, and like everyone else in the world, I've been working on a sourdough starter. Mine's not going so well. I keep forgetting about it. It's my fault. I'm not saying it's hard, I'm saying I'm lazy. But yeah, anyway, I mean, I hope you guys like these drawings. I know they're pretty simple, but it's sort of just really loose, like geometric draping studies and stuff like that. And of course I'm talking at the same time, so you know, it's not my most involved work. I guess we'll switch over to this other page here and draw whatever I feel like. here's one of my classic sketchbook tricks, which is basically when in doubt, cover the rest of the page with a dragon. So I think that'll be nice because I'm not thrilled with these drawings, but I think this page could also be more interesting and more full. So we'll put a dragon on it. Ooh, one other thing I could talk about here is that I've been listening. I'm all the way caught up now. Been listening to a podcast called Scared to Death. It was advertised on Ologies, which is another podcast that I listen to. And she said it was really good. Allie Ward said it was great. And I started listening to it, and like the production value is really good, really good. I can't really stand podcasts that don't have, good audio and stuff. And I mean, I know the audio on my channel is not that good sometimes, but I'm not I'm not a podcaster. And if I was, I would buy a really good microphone and stuff like that. But, so maybe that's a bit nitpicky of me, but I can't listen to stuff with like not very good audio and like not good editing and stuff. But Scared to Death is really, really well done. It goes through like supposedly true stories of sort of occult and paranormal encounters. And it's called Scared to Death, and it is pretty scary sometimes. Had a bit of trouble falling asleep listening to it, but then like I couldn't stop listening to it, like even though I was getting all creeped out and stuff. I think that'll be better now that I'm like caught up and there isn't, like 50 episodes for me to binge listen to. So now my creep factor is like mediated. But anyway, it's really good if you don't mind getting a little bit scared. I'm pretty like, I don't know, it's hard to faze me, I guess. Like I have coworkers and people I know online who can't watch gore, they can't watch anything remotely scary. So I doubt they'd be able to listen to it too. But I don't really care. I can watch anything. Can listen to anything. But like if that was creeping me out, and like not a ton of stuff really creeps me out that much, then it was pretty spooky. So if you like that sort of stuff, check it out. That's like basically the only podcast I've gotten super into aside from Ologies. Every other podcast I've tried, it just didn't grab me the way that one did. And like I said, part of that's like sound quality, but part of that's also just like, the hosts' personalities and stuff. Like some people, actually that's not true. I listened to a lot of Sawbones for a while. But they started like, I feel like running out of topics. I listened to a lot of Sawbones for a bit. But yeah, like some people, their personality is just like annoying. Like I tried listening to My Favorite Murder, and if you like that podcast, like don't come at me, but I thought they were so annoying. So to each their own, but yeah, Scared to Death I thought was quite good. It's a much more amusing page now. Covering up my boring drawings with my silly drawings. I certainly like that a lot more. Let's put one more guy over here. Haha, cute. I think that'll do it for this sketchbook spread. You can see where the effort started out strong and where it got a little bit weird. But yeah, drawing these funny little medieval critters always makes me smile, and I'd love to actually do some stickers of these funny beasts for the future. So I will keep that in ye old brain bank for the future. And yeah, if you like this style of video, if you like any of the media that I mentioned, if you like these little dragons, let me know. And if you have any podcast recommendations as well, I'd be interested to hear those. And yeah, hopefully you guys have had a good weekend or a good week whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!